Tommy Mitchell in the house. Hey, seven, seven, seven. Tell Marvin, I forgot that was reserved.
Always add another chair to the
Yeah,
table.
yeah, they got room for it though.
We got chairs back.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you say people come out.
I hope you're right. Uh, Routers, Routers, may I have your attention? The theme today is going to have a Mr. President. Would you, Mr. President? Oh, I thought that was Dr. Robinson. I'm still recovering from cataract surgery, people. Oh, that's Dr. Palm. I thought you were the president. You know? I think we're gonna be all right.
Oh, they come away.
Well, right there.
Oh, okay.
He said this is for the president.
Not just the people on the cameras. Oh, okay. Another meeting, so we can't stay on.
Okay. Okay.
Eddie, after we let Dr. Robinson do his thing, then we'll present the plaque. So Dr. Robinson could
Wait,
be
wait a minute.
the life membership plaque. We'll do it after Robinson.
Okay. We're gonna write to Dr. Robinson. Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody told me, wait, you tell one to come on.
Oh, wait a minute, Mr. President. Hold up, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, let me have your attention. Ladies and gentlemen, the leader of one of the nation's top 100 public universities in the nation, the president of Florida A&M University, Dr. Larry Robinson. Mr. President, I had an hour and a half planned meeting for you today. I have a presidential theme and I have a number of presidential stories. But I've told that you have another meeting. I don't uh I don't quite understand how people consider other meetings more important than the 220 quarterback club. Ladies and gentlemen, Tommy Mitchell is in the house. Tommy Mitchell just got out of the hospital. He called me and he told me, he said, Eddie, I'm doing okay, but I can't make it because I need more rest. And I said, Tommy, this is the 220 quarterback club. I look around and there he is. All right. I'm gonna have to change the plan I had for the meeting because of the president's other obligations. But Mr. President, we want to make a brief presentation to you. I just want to tell one quick story. Absolute, absolutely true. When Dr. President Humphreys and Officer Rogers and I was coming from a Board of Regents meeting from Jacksonville. And I said, I was in the back by myself. Now, President Humphreys was driving. Sometimes he'll tell Rogers to pull over and he'll just drive. And so I was sitting in the back seat thinking about Dr. Benjamin L. Perry, whom I consider to be the university's greatest president, because he saved the university when they were trying to merge it. But I made the mistake of saying from the back seat, you know what, Dr. Humphreys? I think Benjamin L. Perry is FAMU's greatest president. And he actually pulled the car over and stopped. He turned around and looked at me and said, what did you say? But I stayed strong. I don't flinch. I said, Mr. President, that Benjamin L. Perry is the second greatest president in FAMU's history. Well, and we, in light of the latest news, we got to change our great president. You know, Dr. Robinson is the last person to try to promote himself, just like me. But, Mr. President, we want to recognize you in two ways today. I wish everybody could see this plaque because we think it's kind of special. It has a picture of Dr. Robinson with the university seal and a rattler by his head. And I'm not going to try to show it to you from here because I'll drop it. But, Mr. President, this plaque reads, this plaque reads, this way. No, I got it. Okay. The 220 Quarterback Club MVP Award presented to Larry Robinson, Ph.D., for answering the call from the Florida A&M University Board of Trustees and the FAMU family 3 times without hesitation to serve as interim president when FAMU was on a slippery slope. And each time you pushed and pulled and lifted the university to solid ground. And now, as FAMU's 12th permanent president, you have reached a level of administrative excellence monumental in scope and unprecedented in higher education by having FAMU selected as one of the top 100 public universities in the nation. We are proud to present you with the MVP Award as the most valuable president in FAMU's history. Okay. When the story of higher education is recorded in the future, FAMU's selection as one of the nation's top 100 public universities will always be remembered as your finest hour. And Mr. President, this is signed by Eddie Jackson, President of the Quarterback Club, Selvin Carr, President of the FAMU Boosters, and Curtis Taylor, President of the Rattler F Club. That's Curtis sitting right over there. Mr. President, one of our unsung heroes. Thank you. President, we got one more presentation. I'll turn the floor over to you. Marvin, senior moment. Curtis Taylor. Curtis, will you come Back here near the president. And Selvin, would you come? Okay. This is a letter present that we were going to present today. And there he is, sitting right over there. Marvin, you may want to come up this way. This letter says, this is addressed to Marvin Green, Chairman, FAMU Sports Hall of Fame Committee, Florida A&M University, Tallahassee, Florida. Dear Mr. Green, we are very pleased to nominate Larry Robinson, Ph.D., the 12th president of Florida A&M University, to be approved for induction into the FAMU Sports Hall of Fame during the 2024 ceremony. For years, FAMU athletics suffered from problems in the compliance certification process, delayed financial aid disbursements, summer school issues, lack of academic support, and poor performance as measured by the academic progress rate, especially, sorry, coach, the football program. Robinson moved boldly into this seemingly impossible to solve athletic and academic problem. He hired a new athletic director. Brought in 6 new compliance officers, giving FAMU one of the largest, if not the largest, compliance staff in FCS football. He brought in 5 new academic advisors and developed an athletic action plan to address and resolve all of the pertinent issues. I think the athletic director played a role in that plan as well. He made promises to the football team that he has kept. He contributed financially to the renting of a cooling recovery center for the months of August and September, which has already reduced the number of heat-related problems the team previously had. The difference is clear. The new athletic director announced in May, months before the beginning of the football season, a preliminary certification process has been completed for all sports, signaling that the athletics action plan was working. Your support of this recommendation will give long overdue recognition to a university president whose leadership performance led to FAMU be selected as one of the top 100 public universities in the nation by U.S. News and World Report. Positive consideration by the committee would be greatly appreciated. This is signed by Eddie Jackson, Selvin Cobb, and Curtis Taylor. Where's Marvin? Where's Marvin? Marvin, you want to make a comment?
No pressure at all. The Sports Hall of Fame Committee serves at the pleasure of the university president. We recently inducted our class of 8 individuals and also had a Trailblazer Award. For those who missed it, Bishop Holyfield was selected last weekend, and it's people like Bishop Holyfield and others, and of course Dr. Robinson, who allowed this athletic program to thrive the way that it does. And so, sir, we take this letter with full consideration for next year of Dr. Robinson being added to the 2024 Sports Hall of Fame class. Thank you.
Thank you, Marvin. Oh, picture. Where's Samuel? Get it? Okay. Where? You got it? Oh, we good? All right. Thank you, Curtis, for coming by, man. Appreciate it. Okay. Mr. President, you have the floor.
Well, thanks, Eddie. I mean, this is really moving for me. I think a year ago I came to this and y'all were throwing chicken wings at me. So this is quite a turnaround. I appreciate that. But those chicken wings tasted good, though. I have to say that. To my good friend Tommy Mitchell, I'm glad to see you back on your feet. But y'all know why Tommy's really here, right? He couldn't tolerate that hospital food. He had to come here to get some real food. But anyway, I mean, none of these accolades that you attribute to me, Eddie, are done by me alone. In fact, these are the people who are here this afternoon that did the work to get us there, as well as 1 or 2 others who aren't here. In fact, a lot more who aren't here, who really keep the trains running at these universities. But this is the senior leadership team of Florida A&M University. I would put them up against any leadership team in higher education anywhere, top 100 or whatever. But these are the people who make it work. We have some really exciting meetings every Tuesday and every other day of the week, it seems, to keep these things going. And it makes it easy for us when we have the support of our community, right? And the 220 Club, the Boosters and the F Club, y'all are, some diehards who stay with us along the way. And I appreciate you staying with us through those tough periods as well. I'm extremely humbled. The only thing I just want y'all to ask, do not mention my name and Dr. Humphrey's name and in the same sentence ever, right? Because I am afraid that Dr. Humphreys will come back, right? And take over the wheels of the car that I'm driving, pull me over and ask me to get out. He won't ask, what did you say? I have to give Dr. Humphreys a whole lot of credit for, being the person who sort of brought me here in the first place. And I learned a lot under his tutelage. I wish I'd have been able to learn more. Perhaps we'd be in the top 50 by now. Dr. Humphrey's been here. But I just want to thank the members of my team who provide me with a lot of very, very valuable insight as to how we can get there. And it's because of them that we've made these advances over the last few years. So I just want to make sure that you get to know who these people are. And I'm going to pass the mic just to make sure. I'm not taking over your meeting, Eddie, if I could. I do want to recognize Reverend Holmes. Thank you, sir. Boy, I really like that tie, man. Can I get one of those? Thank you, Reverend Holmes, for joining us. I'm just going to start down here, and they'll tell you who they are and what their roles are at the university. Because, I'm having one of those senior moments, too, Eddie, as well.
Well, good afternoon again, 220 Quarterback Club. I didn't want to take the shine because President Robinson sure does deserve it. And I really have learned a lot working under him. This is my third time being with the 220 Quarterback Club. I'm Allison Watson, serve as the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. Very good to see you all again. Thank you.
Oh. Well, she said she didn't need introduction. So, I'm Rebecca Brown, and I serve as the Vice President for Finance and Administration, Chief Financial Officer.
Good afternoon. I'm Denise Wallace, Vice President and General Counsel for Legal Affairs at the university.
Good afternoon. I'm Roderick Jones, your new Interim Vice President of Strategic Planning, Research and Effectiveness.
So good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see you all again. I'm back. I'm the Chief Operating Officer and the Executive Vice President. I'm Donald Palm, and it feels like a family reunion. Good to see y'all.
Good afternoon. I'm Linda Barge Miles, and I serve as the Chief of Staff of the President, and I'm a rattler.
We should have started with that, huh? Good afternoon, 220 Club. My name is Danielle Macbeth. I'm Director of Government Relations and also a rattler.
Good afternoon, Rattlers. I am Cynthia Henry. I am the Executive Assistant to the President, and I'm also an alum.
Good afternoon, family. I'm Carmen Cummings, Assistant Vice President of University Engagement and Alumni Affairs. I hail from Wausau, Florida, and I am a proud alum and a diehard rattler.
I do want to acknowledge a couple of people who aren't here with us this afternoon. Dr. Bill Hudson Jr., who's the Vice President for Student Affairs, who learned all his good stuff from Roland Gaines, right? So that means we had to work on him a lot. But thanks, Roland, for being here. Dr. Charles Weatherford, the VP for Research, is not here with us today. They're off to another rip-roaring year. I think they're already at 50 million that the faculty have garnered in research. Dr. Shante Friday Stroud, the VP for Development, Director of the FAMU Foundation. She's not here. She's off to a great start, already at $10 million. Don't y'all tell the board yet, right? Already at $10 million. Ms. Rika Calhoun, Compliance and Chief Ethics Officer. She's not able to join us. Joe Malacheski, VP for Audit, is not here with us today. And then, as always, we have 2 faculty appointees who sit around that table every Tuesday, providing input and insights on the things that we need to do to make sure we address our faculty. They're not able to join us today as well. And Dr. Eric Akins, the Director of Title III, and of course, move those chains. Keith Miles, Director of Communications. So those are the people who sit around the table and, they throw spitballs at me every Tuesday, right, to help this university move forward. And I just want to tell them how much, I appreciate them publicly. Of course, I don't tell them this privately, but I want to say it publicly, how much I appreciate the great work they do on the behalf of Florida A&M University. Thank you for this honor. I will cherish it forever. I have to find a special place for this. And I believe now there'll probably be at least one name I won't reject on the inductees to the Hall of Fame next year. I don't know about the rest of them, Marvin, but there'll be one name that I will say, okay, let him through. Thank y'all very much.
Mr. President, I want to do 2 quick things before you leave. One is another story. I happened to be in the right place at the right time when I graduated from FAMU, and 2 months after graduation, I was named Director of Sports Information, and which means that I was automatically a member of the Orange Blossom Classic Committee. And I'm sitting in the room with these giants of FAMU, James Bruton, M.L. Thomas, Dr. Whip Foster, Coach Jake Gaither, and I was way in over my head with these very important people. And my first week, there was some talk about Coach Gaither and Dr. Foster being in odds with each other because Gaither was a little concerned about the band playing too long at halftime at the Orange Blossom Classic. And of course, you guys know Dr. Foster is going to do his whole show, regardless. And there was supposed to be a showdown between the 2 of them at our next meeting. And I was scared to death. I mean, we're talking about Coach Gaither and Dr. Foster, the 2 most influential people, 2 of the most in FAMU's history. And so that morning at the meeting, I was sitting down, scared to death. What's going on here? Why am I here? And Dr. Foster came in with his usual ebullient self and sat down. Then Coach Gaither came in. Then Dr. Foster got up and walked over to Coach Gaither, held out his hand and said, "How's the world's greatest football coach doing this fine morning?" And Coach Gaither said, "Well, Dr. Foster, he's not doing as fine as the world's greatest band director." And they both broke out laughing. Everybody else in the room laughed. The president came in, Dr. Perry, wrapped his arm around both of them and whispered something. It must have been funny because they broke out laughing again. And they all sit down. The subject didn't even come up. It was resolved. Dr. Foster kept playing his music at halftime. It just didn't come up anymore. But I was so impressed at the way Dr. Foster and Coach Gaither handled it. I mean, true leadership skills. These kind of things I think take a long time to mature and happen. But they were really great people, and I just enjoyed working with them every year. In my first year on the Orange Blossom Classic Committee at the Orange Blossom Classic, Nina Simone sang for us at the Fontainebleau Hotel back in the days of segregation. I was only about 2 tables from She was standing by a piano singing. And she looked at me a couple of times, and that's what I said. All right, I see. All right, it's getting time for me to move on now. Mr. President, I shouldn't do this, but I just want to single out a few people because we started this campaign for women's sports to raise $50,000 this year. And all the commitments we have are from people we know who love this university, and when they make a commitment, they stand by it. And Mr. President, we're over $35,000 already. Okay. But I'm gonna take a chance. I just want to point out a few because Johnny, where's Johnny Hankerson? Johnny, where'd you stand? Oh, Johnny, bringing me another $1,000 check. Okay. Yeah. Mr. President, Johnny Hankerson is not a FAMU graduate, but his blood runs orange and green. Every major event we've had, he's been a strong supporter and participant of. And I want to point out, Johnny, another non-Florida A&M graduate. Couldn't get in FAMU, so he went to Florida State. And that's Al Borders. Al Borders, stand up for a moment, Al. Folks, Al Borders is a graduate of Florida State. Years ago, when Reverend Holmes decided to try and raise a couple of $100,000 for FAMU's football programs when it was in really, really pretty bad shape, and he had to get people to give $1,000, and Al Borders was one of those people who gave $1,000. Also, Al is kind of a war hero. He got a Distinguished Flying Cross from being in Vietnam. Let's give Mr. Borders another round. Yeah. Well, the distinguished Reverend Michael Moore is a FAMU graduate, but he just got back from vacation, and one of the first things he said to me when he got back, put me down for 1,000. Right. Now, this is for women's sports, so it is just great that the first person to give $1,000 was Miss Hadley. Where's Miss Hadley? Oh, stand up, Miss Hadley. Yeah, she led the way. I wanted to single out somebody. I'm probably going too far at this anyway. Oh, Mr. President, you say you love that plaque. And I just want you to know the gentleman who paid for it. Where's Rudy Gibbons? Stand up, Rudy, a moment. You know, when we go out and do something like this, we find people to pay for it. We don't, you know. Rudy is a member of the FAMU Sports Hall of Fame. I think class 2001, Rudy? 2001. Thank you, Rudy. You know, we Hall of Famers have to stick together. Just wanted to point that out. And I was so glad to see Dr. Palm come back to be the Chief Operating Officer. You know, James Matthews like to talk about his Kappa brothers. Well, we got an Alpha next in command now. All right. There was one other person, and I can't having a senior moment, so I'm gonna let it go. Oh, all right, well, where's Jerry? Where's Jerry? Jerry helped kind of design your plaque, Mr. President. All right. Every now and then she helps out a little bit. Mr. President, there used to be a commercial where the young lady is by this washing machine and her father comes in and dresses her, and then she tells her father, the young lady says, "You are free to go." Well, you are free to go, Mr. President, if you're through. Unless, oh, yes, ma'am, let me see. Okay. I think I've gone too far already. Okay, Mrs. Gloria Spradley Brown, Director of Sponsored Research is here. Where is in the back? Oh, okay. Terrence Henson is here with a group. Where's Terrence? Terrence was inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame last year. Yeah, I said this year. I didn't know Terrence was such a great athlete. I know him a long time. He doesn't boast to talk about it, but I didn't know how great he was. Well, that's the way we Hall of Famers tend to behave. And I understand our new women's basketball coach is here with two students. Where is she? Where? Will you stand up, Coach? Yeah, Coach, could you come up and tell us who you brought with you? Okay. Okay.
Hold on, Coach. The people online can't hear you.
We have Zenzele Vital coming in from Maryland. She spent the year with me at the University of Cincinnati last year, so she's one of our assistants. And we have one of Tallahassee's finest, Dante Gideon is here. He was on the men's side and he's with us now. While I have the microphone, we officially started practice yesterday and we had some of the members from the 220 Club out. So I'll welcome. I'm camera shy. I don't like the camera. In front of the camera. Okay, we had practice officially started yesterday, and we had some of the members out from 220 Club, so they gave me a little thumbs up. But I want to invite you all out tomorrow. We have practice again in Lawson Center at 3:45. You're always welcome. Always welcome to come out and support the young ladies.
Pressure. Oh, Coach, I think you should know that I played the game. No, not women's basketball, coach. You know, I always go too far. I knew not to go too far around Dr. Robinson because we were having a banquet at this place down somewhere here in Tallahassee, and we were honoring the baseball team. And Dr. Robinson said, "You know, we can't do the Rattler strike for the baseball team because if you strike and strike and strike again, you'll be out." Ever since then, I said, "This guy is good. I got to be careful with him." Seven, I think you need to come up and make a couple of statements. Oh, one more point, Mr. President. What's the gentleman name down at the end of the table? All of, huh? No, not Andrew. Reverend Hall. Woo, these senior moments, boy. Reverend Home gave $1,000 as well to the women's. And his church gave $3,000 to the nutrition program this year as well. And where's James Matthews? Where's the Kappa guy? James Matthews gave $1,000 today as well. And before Wilbur sits down, he didn't quite have 1,000, but he gave 500. Now, see, if he didn't drive that Porsche, that's what I said, Corvette, he would have had another $500. Yes. Oh, Tommy don't need the money. Tommy always like to have the last word. You know, that. Mr. President, I'm gonna get out the way and turn this over to Selvin Cobb. And then, Selvin, I need to make one more comment.
Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. At this time, we have two new Rattler Boosters Life members, and I'm going to ask them to come up. Miss Bradley Brown. And Miss Gail Butler Hinton. So, Miss Bradley Brown.
Thank you.
Here you are, your tag, your letter, and of course, yeah, here is your life member plaque. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And Miss Gail Butler, and picture. This your letter, your card, your tag, and your life membership plaque. Thank you. May I? Okay. You get me here? Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Right quick, Mr. Before I turn the mic over to our illustrious president, who my sister-in-law called it the host of the Eddie Jackson Show. I'd just like to thank you all for all the participations that you've given the Rattler Boosters. And we want to also let you know that we have 6 seats left at the luncheon, the Florida Classic Luncheon. We actually have 3 full tables, and we have 4 seats on table number 4. So again, that's $100. See me, text me, or see me before you leave today, and to reserve your seat. And I promise you, it's an event that once you attend, you won't want to miss one. So again, thank you all for all that you do to invest in our student athletes. And I'll turn this back over to Mr. Jackson.
Okay, so
She didn't say she was
Okay.
and make me stand.
You know, I take directions and orders from everybody. We have a life member who is on the dais, and I was informed that she's relatively shy. So one of our new life members, would you please stand? Miss Cynthia Henry. I just said, Cynthia Henry. Thank you, Dr. Walker.
Clement Johnson, if you watch it online, he just committed $1,000.
Who?
Clement Johnson.
Oh, okay.
okay. Good. President, we're live on YouTube. And Chairman Johnson, wrong mic. Clement Johnson, one of FAMU's all-time great basketball players, just committed $1,000 online to the women's basketball program. And our illustrious athletic director has also committed $1,000 to the program. And Mr. President, I want to suggest not suggest, but just say to the members of your senior leadership team that they should feel under no obligation to make a contribution to the women's, it's all women's sports. And we have a lot of women on your team. So I'm just throwing that out. The account number is 2649. President gave $1,000 last year to the Coolant Recovery Center, Mr. President, but this is a new campaign. You shouldn't feel under any obligation to give another $1,000. And I believe I see. I just finished cataract surgery. I saw Coach Simmons somewhere. Oh, I almost. All right, I won't get into that. I'm happy to see Coach Simmons. We at the halftime of the West Florida game, he called, and score was tied 3-3, and I made a few comments. And you guys see what happened in the second half. Are you listening, new women's basketball coach? Ladies and gentlemen, the head coach of the Florida A&M University football team, Coach Willie Simmons.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Great to see everyone. Boss. Second boss. Great to see the leadership team here. Thank you guys for what you do for not only FAMU football and athletics, but the university. We wouldn't be what we are without your support. So we just thank you guys, and I appreciate everything that you continue to do for us. But won't take too much of your time. I figured when I came up in my normal parking spot, one reserved for me, that we had some important people in the house. So, as a matter of fact, my sign all folded down. Somebody didn't put the tape on the sign right, Eddie. So we did win this past week. So yeah, this is comedy hour, but no, it's always a pleasure to be here, and excited about last week's win. I tell you, just two phenomenal weekends of just the atmosphere at Bragg. I mean, it's so electric. There wasn't an empty seat in the house this past weekend, and so that's a testament to you guys. I mean, we've had close to 200 recruits the last couple of weeks, and I mean, these are young men that are 3-star, 4-star, 5-star recruits, and they rave about the atmosphere. We've actually had players on other teams come to us after the game, and I don't know if that's legal or not, but we're not recruiting. They're just coming to us. So just comment about the atmosphere that we have here at Bragg, and it's just truly amazing. We won't be here for about a month. Obviously, we're going to be the Road Warriors for the next few weeks. But again, just a great atmosphere. It was a big-time football game. The commissioner of the conference was there this past weekend and walked up to Coach Eddie Robinson and I before the game and said, you know, this is the SWAC East Championship, right? And I said, well, we got a lot of football left to play after this. But he was speaking about the magnitude of that game. The winner of that game really positioned itself to be in a really good spot in the conference this year. And obviously, having already beat Jackson, and now Alabama State was picked third. So the top three teams, we beat the two that we have to go against. And so it really puts us in a great position throughout the rest of the season. Now, we still got a lot of football left to play, so we definitely can't rest on where we are. But again, it's a great feeling to be able to be 2-0 in conference, extend the nation's second longest home win streak to 17 games now. And again, just we moved up in the rankings. We're 18th in the coaches poll and 20th in the media poll. So again, just a lot of great things happening. Isaiah Major was Box to Row National Defensive Player of the Week. Didn't get SWAC Defensive Player of the Week, which I find odd that you can be the National Player of the Week, but not Conference Player of the Week. But we're the only school ranked in the top 100 in the SWAC, so I think that has something to do with it. but no, just a great game all around. Defensively, we're playing on a level that, again, we've been doing this. I can't say it's been done in a long time, but just those guys are flying around. Alabama State had 14 yards rushing, and to that's very hard to do. I mean, that's an average of, with all these academians, that's 3.5 yards a quarter. I mean, a successful run play in our mind is 5 yards. If we run the ball, we want to get 5 yards every time we run it. They got 3.5 yards a quarter against our defense, and so that just shows the level of dominance that we have on that side of the ball. So, Eddie, you give me a lot of great things about offense, but defense is really carrying us right now. So we don't need as much as we may have in the past. But those guys are playing really well. Offensively, we threw the ball really well. Threw for almost 300 yards and a couple of touchdowns. And then in the run game, we still got some work to do. We're a little banged up front. We got some offensive linemen that are battling some injuries. A couple are out for this week. So we got to definitely make sure we continue to work in that area. But again, overall, great win, great team win, and we got a really, really tough trip this weekend. I think the hardest place, I've been a part of this conference for a while, I think the toughest place to play is Itta Mississippi. It's for us, it's a long bus ride. You're driving through the Delta of Mississippi, and if you've never been there, it does something to you. Like it really does something to you to ride and see the endless cotton fields. I mean, like you can envision what life was like. Well, you can envision what life is like now for many of them. But just to think about what they endured during those harsh times, it's a truly humbling experience. And there's nowhere close to Itta to stay. That's a full service hotel, and so we're actually staying in Jackson this weekend, and then driving up an hour and 40 minutes to Itta the day of the game. Just because, again, we don't want to go and have to eat at a buffet and do all those things. So to have a full-service hotel, the closest one is Jackson, Mississippi, or going past Itta all the way out to Greenville somewhere, and now you're talking about a 9.5-hour bus ride home. And so it's a really tough trip. The grass there is probably going to be about a foot high. They don't cut the grass very much at Itta. So all the speed we have will be probably neutralized by all that high grass. And I'm not going to say that. Probably the toughest thing for our guys from a mental standpoint is we open the season in Miami Gardens, obviously, Hard Rock Stadium. Great crowd. The next week we go to Tampa and play in Hard Rock Stadium and Raymond James Stadium. Great crowd. 2 straight home games that are sellouts. Now we got to go to their stadium, and it's not going to be the atmosphere that we used to seeing. And so we've been telling our guys all week, we got to bring our own juice. Like, we got to come out of the tunnel, and it's not going to be DJ Lou's Kid and the Marching 100 and the student section cheering us on. It's going to be just like most places we travel, maybe more Rattlers than anybody else. And so we just got to prepare ourselves mentally for a very, very taxing trip, not physically, but mentally. And if we can do that and overcome it, we'll play really good football and be where we need to be. But I'm excited about this weekend. We can't overlook these guys. I know everybody's excited about what's next week, the big game next week, and then homecoming obviously is coming down the pike. But we definitely can't overlook this group, and that's as a team and as fans. We got to do a good job of representing and supporting us as well. So, but I can't tell you enough about you guys and the support that you continue to pour into these young people, and it really shows up a lot, and they appreciate it. So, as always, we'll open the floor for questions. That includes you guys as well. If y'all got any questions for me, definitely. I know Carmen knows all of them already, all the answers already. So anything you ask, Carmen probably already knows. She's been around for a long time. So, but any questions? So boss have to raise his hand. Usually they raise a hand. Boss just kind of yells this stuff out. So. Yeah, that's what a drop is, right? Eddie, I'm not gonna tell you who.
Sharika.
Yeah, Nina Simone is ringing in right now. You might want to take that. Well, we had a couple of drops, but I mean that happens in football. it wasn't really a question. It was a kind of a statement about drop passes. I don't honestly think it was attributed to not giving effort. Marcus Riley dropped a pass that hit him right on the fingertips. I mean, he was running full speed, ran by the guy, and if you're running, Marcus is probably the second fastest guy on our football team. When you're running that fast, sometimes the ball kind of jumps a little bit in the air, and it's hard to judge it just where. I mean, so he had his hands extended. He didn't extend them all the way out because he didn't need to. One more inch, he probably catches the football. So it wasn't a matter of effort. He dropped it, and that happens in football. So Kobe had a drop there that hit him in the hands. So it's not like they weren't running fast or didn't. I didn't see one where somebody needed to die for it. I don't know what play you're talking about specifically, but I don't think there was one somebody needed to lay out. But the receivers are playing hard. They just, you drop passes sometimes in football. Manigo did play. So he had a few catches. Nick actually got dinged up later in the game, but Manigo, we rolled him in. And we started Nick because he had been playing really well. And then David came in and had a couple catches, looked really good. He's back healthy, playing fast. So Nick is probably out this week. It was a weird play. We called a run play where we kind of had a receiver coming behind like a fake reverse, and Moose handed the ball to him. So Nick didn't know he was getting the ball, and it surprised him. And the guy from Alabama State made him pay for it. So he's probably out this week. So he'll be back. But yeah, he took a pretty good shot there, and so we're gonna, from a precaution there, he's fine. I mean, but as a precaution, we're gonna hold him out. And but no, David's playing. Look, he's looking good. So I'm excited about him. Tommy, how the Southern, the Jaguars, we play them next week. It's time I always do that. You stay off topic. Trying to take it one game at a time. I just said we can't overlook this team, and he's asking me about a team we play next week. I honestly don't know what Southern's ranked as far as standings go. I think they played a game against Alabama State that didn't count on the conference standings. So I think I don't know if they played a conference game yet. So, but I mean, I hadn't really followed the West side as much as I do the East. Because I do know the Alabama State game didn't count. They lost the game, but it didn't count on the standings. Yeah. Ask me that next Wednesday. Yeah, we're really banged up. We entered training camp with 19 offensive linemen. Today's practice, we had 12 that was dressed out. And so we're down a significant amount of guys. So we'll have enough to go to Mississippi, and we'll feel good about the guys we take. But we got some ankles, some knees, some shoulders. We're a little bit banged up there. So we had a couple of MRIs this week. We're waiting to get the results back to see the extent of the injuries. But yeah, it's been a physical 4 weeks. Probably the most physical games that we'll play this year were probably the first 4 weeks of the season. So we can get those guys back. But luckily we have enough depth to where we're not in a dire situation. Well, TJ's he injured his hand, so he finished the game. He snapped every play, but he hadn't practiced this week because his hand is swollen. So we think it'll be down in enough time to play Saturday. But we have a plan if he can't go. But yeah, he's been out. And but again, that's kind of been the story. A lot of guys finished the game. Jeremiah Pruitt finished the game, had some big catches. The whole second half, he was playing with a high ankle sprain. So he's been out this week, kind of hobbling around. So that adrenaline gets pumping. You'll finish the game. And then that Sunday morning, you feel it when you wake up that next day. So but yeah, we got some guys that are a little bit banged up. Yes, ma'am. What did the wide receiver say to number 15? He didn't say a thing. That's the second time that's happened this season. That a cornerback has, they call it jam, when you try to get your hands on him. He's done that before the ball is snapped. I don't know what Coach Cozy is teaching them, but that ain't what we teach, right? So yeah, it was a complete offsides, and the frustrating part was that it was 3rd and 4. You do that on 3rd and 20. Right, if you're gonna try to get an early jump, do it on 3rd and 20 where it doesn't hurt us. The 2 times we've done it is giving the other team a first down. So those, when we talk about penalties, those are the penalties that really get me upset because, and it happened. I was standing right beside him. I mean, it was the worst possible place to do that because, yeah, I had some choice words for him and for Coach Cozen. I think Musa's playing good football. If you ask other people, he's playing great football. I mean, scouts come by every day asking about him. Other teams. I mean, he's leading FC. I mean, he's the seventh leading passer in FCS football right now. So based on the numbers, he's playing really well. Based on FAMU standards, he's playing okay. but real seriously, the expectation for him is that he plays at that level all the time. So when he misses a throw or when he doesn't make a read, it's magnified because we expect so much, right? And I had a long talk with him when he first got here about that very thing. I mean, you play quarterback at FAMU, and the history that we have with the quarterbacks that have come through here, the successes that we've had, you got to understand that, right? Dr. Robinson sitting in this seat understands the people that he's come behind, and that's why he said, "Don't mention, do not mention Jake Gaither." Right? Like, don't do that. Like, that's disrespectful to Jake to mention me in the same breath as Jake Gaither. So when you come to a place like FAMU with such rich history and tradition, the expectations are through the roof, and you have to be able to handle that pressure because a really good game sometimes is not good enough when you're coming behind the greatest that have done it, right? I mean, we're literally talking about playing behind some of the greatest that have ever done these respective things. So being really good ain't the standard. Being excellent is the standard. So we expect Jeremy to play excellent every week. He didn't turn the ball over other than the strip sack, which wasn't on him. And so for the last 2 or 3 games, he hadn't turned it over, and that's what we want. Be efficient, don't turn it over, and that gives us a chance to win. So all in all, he's playing good ball. He's getting better, and I think he's got better ball left ahead of him. Well, a lot of it, the illegal substitution. I know we had one on offense. So the rule technically says you can't break the huddle with 12 people. Well, we don't huddle. And so when we come from the sideline, that's our huddle. So one time we called out a personnel grouping. Marcus didn't hear it and he ran on. So we had 3 receivers, 2 tight ends, a running back, a quarterback. Well, that's too many skill players. So we had 12. So he tried to run off, and by that time they flagged us. And so that was a legal substitution. I think we had one on defense, but the one on defense was a faulty call because we actually had 10 men on the field. Too many guys ran off and 1 ran on late. So they didn't really count. You still got running on late. You assume that's number 12. You played with 11, 1 ran on it, thought it was 12. So, I told the ref, you can't assume. You still got to count them, but so I didn't punish the team for that one because we actually were compliant. We just got a flag for, something that they thought they saw. Just like we ran 3 downs on one series. So it happens. Oh, I'm about to say, don't start getting nice now because the president here. Go on and give it to me. That ain't never stopped you before. Mm-hmm. It's really nice today. I'm gonna invite Dr. Robinson back next week too. That's right. That's right. Y'all got work to do. So the university still has a run. So no, board of trustee meeting. Y'all have fun. Want to thank again. Let's get administration a huge round of applause again. That's a nice picture, Dr. Robinson. I'm there. Good to see y'all. So, but to your point, yes. And we talked a long time on Sunday about just that very thing, about the expectations, about not taking the team for granted, right? So, the thing about Mississippi Valley to note is this is a new coaching staff. And so whenever you have a new staff, it typically takes about 4 or 5 weeks before things start to kind of click. And so that's what I told the team, like the film that you see is not indicative of what you're probably going to see on Saturday. Obviously, they'll be a little bit better, a little bit more sound. They'll be able to practice and all those things. And so, and I told them in the locker room on Saturday, like everybody plays us as well as they play. Like we get everybody's best shot. You know, and that's, I mean, this same team that we played last Saturday lost to a Division II team 2 weeks prior. And the way they played us Saturday, they wouldn't have lost to that school a couple of weeks ago. And so they just, for whatever reason, could be a myriad of reasons, but teams really get up to play FAMU. I mean, they really, really do. So a lot of the guys were on the team in 21. We were a playoff team, nationally ranked team. We rode into Itabena, riding a winning streak, and found ourselves down to start the fourth. Well, at some point early in the fourth quarter, we were down and had to come back and win the game. So, again, the guys that were here, they remember that. Some of the newer guys don't, but made that point to them on Sunday that, again, and like I said before, I don't like to talk in the terms of playing up to competition or playing down to competition. I don't really speak in those terms. I talk about our standard. It's our job to meet our standard, and our standard is excellence. And we say it all the time. The only way to reach excellence is to chase perfection. So we have to be perfect in our preparation, perfect in our mentality, and in our attitudes. Like that's the only way to reach that excellence that we talk about every day. So I'm really pleased by the work that we put in Sunday night, yesterday morning, this morning. It rained yesterday morning, and the guys had an amazing practice. Came out this morning, had another phenomenal practice. And so I would be shocked if we don't play well on Saturday. I really would be, because we prepared. This is probably the best week of preparation that we've had up to this point. Now, Thursday is always a challenge because we take the pads off. We call it our perfect Thursday. We kind of break the practice up into segments. Defense takes the field by themselves first, then special teams, and then offense at the end. And so offensively, we've kind of walked through those Thursday practices and hadn't gone full speed, haven't really been mentally locked in the way we need to be. And I think that's why you see us at times have those lulls on offense, because you will play the way you practice. No matter, you will play the way you prepare. 99.9% of us aren't good enough to just flip the switch on game day. Okay. Coach Gordon was, Coach Gordon was All-American, Olympic gold medal. Like Coach Gordon could probably flip the switch and practice bad and then go out there and score 30. I couldn't. If I didn't prepare the right way, I wasn't going to play a good game on. Eddie probably could, right? But the rest of us, we got to prepare. But like I said, I'll be really shocked if we don't play well Saturday by the way the guys are prepared so far this week. Vaughn? So Alabama State had a week to prepare. Obviously, they had a bye week before they played us. So we knew that they would give us a lot of unbalanced formations, and they did. They did everything we thought they would do in that regard. They had not thrown the ball well leading up to the game, and so we were really concerned about stopping their run. They put in some pass concepts that we hadn't seen and hit us on some spots that we were vulnerable in. And we didn't make the necessary adjustments until the second half. So we did a good job of adjusting to it. But the first half, we did get hit on some things. And the one touchdown was just the flukiest touchdown that you'll see. I mean, the ball deflected off Isaiah's hand and hit Dank in the face mask and then bounced up, and the guy caught it and ran in for a touchdown. So if that's the only way you score, we'll take that. I mean, that won't happen again. But other than that, I thought the guys played, defensively, we played like this. It's hard to be critical of our defense. The only criticism that I have in the secondary, sometimes we're just a little bit too passive. You know, third downs, we need to be more aggressive, knowing that they're going to probably throw the ball right at the first down marker. And so let's be aggressive. Not so aggressive that we jam a guy before the ball is snapped, but be aggressive. And other than that, we're getting after the quarterback with tackles for loss, sacks. General Hunt had 3.5 tackles for loss. Isaiah Major had a sack. I mean, we're leading the conference in sacks right now, so we're playing really good football on that side. I got a couple more questions.
This question says, based on the overall play of the SWAC, do you think it prepares you for a MEAC foe who plays a physical brand of football, hence MEAC Celebration Bowl domination?
Well, like I said, I mean, we played two very physical SWAC games. I mean, Jackson State's a physical football team. Alabama State's physical. So I think obviously I spent time in both conferences. I think that's a misconception, is that the MEAC's a more physical league than the SWAC. Obviously, the conditions say they are, because you're playing in D.C., Baltimore, Virginia, Delaware in November. It's cold. Like, so what are you physical? Now it feels physical because it's so cold. Like, it's hard to get hit in cold weather. Whereas in the South, it's going to be warm until the last 2 weeks of the season. So I think that's a huge misconception, that the conferences are one's more physical than the other. You know, there have been some really good teams in the MEAC, and there have been some really good teams in the SWAC, and when they've met for a championship, the MEAC's gotten the best of them. But you look at the rankings, the top 10 rankings are filled with SWAC teams. Now, we have more teams, obviously, but we typically have had more teams in the top 10 than the MEAC over the last few years. So, but I think that's a misconception, that the MEAC is a more physical league than the SWAC.
Specifically kickoff coverage. Now, I know you worked on it, because I was up there when you started practice with kickoff coverage practice. Then I saw you go back to it, so I know they're working on it. Is it?
So kickoff coverage, you're 100% right. It has been Achilles' heel for us. Thankfully, our defense is playing extremely well, because we're giving them the ball at the 45-yard line. It starts with the kick. And so we're a directional kicking team. So we try to pin the ball into the corner, condense the field, and get more bodies to that part of the ball. Well, when the ball gets kicked down the middle of the field, it completely compromises our coverage lanes. And so, one, it starts with the kick, and then two, it goes to our players seeing the flight of the ball and then adjusting. So if the ball's hit bad, we got to adjust to make sure we continue to leverage the ball. We haven't done that, so we've had some situations where they've out-leveraged us. They've kicked us out to the field. When you condense your alignment, the conventional wisdom for the return team says run it back to the field. Well, if we pin them in the corner, you can't get back to the field. But if you kick it down the middle, you can get to the field quickly, and we've been in that situation. So, Mike Smith's a true freshman kicker. He's a really good kicker, has a strong leg, but he's mishit a couple. And when he pinned them in the corner, they started on the 12 and they started on the 14. When we hit it between the hashes, they're getting it out to the 45. So punt's no different. The long return they had, fortunately got called back, but it was because it was a punt right down the middle of the field. We got to punt them in the corner. We got to kick off in the corner, and then if we do that, we'll be fine. So we've addressed it, but it really starts with the kick. What happened to the cannon? So we got an IED here, so I'm gonna pass the baton on this one. We probably split down the middle on the cannon, so I'm not quite sure what the situation is with cannon. Boss, you want to address that, or?
Literally, like my first week here, I started getting emails about people saying they really just did not like the cannon. And so I had, over the course of months, an overwhelming number of people who just said that they were impacted in some way by the cannon. So I made the decision to not engage the cannon. I have since people noticed there was no cannon, people have asked about it, but I still have not had more people ask about it than I had advocate against it yet. So I'm not saying it's completely off the table, but that's why we have not started the season with the cannon.
They'll start a war about the cannon. All right, we're gonna let the 220 Club take a poll, Eddie, about the cannon, and we'll get the results back to AD Sykes, and it should be able to make an informed decision. So, so one more question, then I know the AD's got meetings to get to. So, they said the cannon's free. Yes, ma'am. K Dot, is K Dot okay? No, K Dot. He didn't get hurt. No, he's okay. He's fine. I think he may have come out for a couple plays. But yeah, he's fine. Yeah, he's good to go. Yeah, K Dot's good to go. We're winning. We're gonna try to win them convincingly, so that y'all can leave in the third quarter and get home. So.
Consistently, and yeah, there might be some things that you could improve on, but if you just keep bringing victories, I'm gonna keep I liked you when you first got here, and the more I know you, the more I like you.
Well, winning typically does that, so we're gonna try to make sure we keep winning. Last one, time. Tonight going to basketball. What's it? Any more football questions before we let Tommy talk basketball and we let the AD come on? One last question. Football question. All these things will be added. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Appreciate it. Now, Tommy, I'm going to let you hear your basketball statement, and then I'm going to turn it over to the AD. I'll remind people for the next 10 weeks before the game for Oregon. But we definitely want to support Coach McCullum, Coach Gordon, all the coaches. I mean, we're in volleyball season right now, doing well, cross country seasons right now. So football's not the only thing going on, but I appreciate it. And since we're transitioning to other sports, obviously we will. Eddie, can I do the honors to introduce the boss? Oh, you want to do it? You want to do it? Okay, I ain't gonna steal your thunder. Come on. Because Della Reese is going to call back soon. Hope y'all can make it to Interbina. If not, definitely see you guys on the rebound. Love y'all. Go Rattlers.
Thank you, Coach.
ESPN Plus. Okay.
Yeah. Is it on ESPN Plus? I didn't see it in the paper. But anyway. Okay, all right. I didn't want this lady to come up without an introduction because she has made such great changes in the athletic program and got FAMU on the right foot. I know we had a little issue the first home game, but she corrected it sadly. All right, but we're in a good place. I think we got the best athletic director we've had in a long, long time. So, ladies and gentlemen, the director of athletics at Florida A&M, Tiffany on site.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for allowing me to be here again. I have survived 2 first home games, even though I barely survived the first one. But was eager to make some necessary corrections to make sure that everyone, our student athletes, and you all had a better experience for the second week. I will mention on the heels of Tommy Mitchell's announcement that our women's team also plays Cal that same day. So it's a Pac-12 doubleheader. So the women will play Cal, and then the men will play Oregon on that same day in November. So you'll be able to see both out-of-conference games at the same time. As Coach Simmons mentioned, we have a lot of teams who are in full swing right now. This weekend was great. So Marvin Green, chair of the Hall of Fame committee. I mean, if you all had an opportunity to attend the event, I just really can't find adequate words to describe it. It was really incredible. The National Rattler F Club, Mr. Taylor, I saw he's gone, but had a really nice breakfast for everyone. And then Friday afternoon, a number of you were there as we dedicated the locker room to Godfather. So we really had a full weekend. The president has said he doesn't want weekends that full anymore because we have volleyball too. But I like them full. So we're going to try to have as many full weekends as we can. What else is going on? What do you all want to know from me? I just emailed the ticket office yesterday, and so I have not had a chance because I've been in meetings since 8:30 this morning and came straight here. So I asked them to give me that information, so I'll let you know. But since you're talking about tickets, I will tell you that if you all are not a member of Investing in Champions and you do not have your season tickets, homecoming, there are literally a handful of tickets left, and they are all reserved and premium seating. So I want to say the East might be completely sold out, but when I say a handful of tickets, I got an email on Monday saying based on the pace of ticket sales that it was pretty much guaranteed that we would be sold out of homecoming tickets by Friday. So if you have, so you need to go to the box office. They close at 4:30 today. So if you have family and friends and Nina Simone or whomever coming to the game for homecoming, if you don't get the tickets now, there will not be tickets available because I cannot increase the capacity of the stadium. So when we have what we have is gone, it's just gone. Okay. Are you talking about North End Zone? So the North End Zone, I'm grateful for the North End Zone, which is managed by our university foundation because I do receive the profit from the North End Zone, but I do not manage the logistics of the North End Zone. So that decision is made by Dr. Shante Friday-Stroud, who's come to speak with you, and her team, based on what they can manage, based on what they can provide, and based on, just a number of things. So our gates open 2 hours to kick off. The first week they open 45 minutes to kick off for the North End Zone. And I sent the email out from me, even though I don't manage the North End Zone, just to let all of our investors know. I know you all had been doing 2 hours previously. The decision has been made by the foundation to do that at 45 minutes. They got some feedback. They adjusted it to an hour. There has not been any discussion to really expand that. So I think right now you're in a position where you have to make a decision. Do you want to come in 2 hours early and just sit in your seat until the North End Zone opens at 5? Or do you want to wait for that special entry point at 5 o'clock when the North End Zone opens? But I don't tell them when to open because I don't manage it. So hold on, we right here. And I also have to get to the Board of Trustee meeting. It is a special meeting, so I'll take as many questions as I can, but I will have to go. The official game color for homecoming is orange. Yes. Yep. Yes, sir. Yep. At Patty Foot Lawn? Okay, so I can talk to you. That's a great question. Thanks for bringing up tailgating. So early August, we senior leadership team, we got on the bus, did a site visit of the stadium just to see where we were with the parking and the striping and the scoreboards, etc. And I was told, okay, people tailgate on this particular hill. So my question was, well, how much do we charge, right? And they said, well, we don't charge. Okay, y'all let me finish. However, it was also brought to my attention when I asked that question that university, I forget the official term, property, construction, planning, etc., had determined that since that road was installed at the bottom of the slope, that it was no longer safe for tailgating. So that's not a matter of whether Tiffany wants to charge or not charge for tailgating. The university has determined that area to be unsafe. So people should not have been tailgating on that hill on Saturday because every time a tent went up, it was taken down. You said no one was there? Yes. Okay. So yeah, I rode through a few times. I didn't see any tents or anything. Okay. So yeah. So that decision was made by the university. We could have done a better job of communicating that a little early because it did kind of take people by surprise on the tailgating. But I've gotten a lot of feedback. What we did this past week was open up the Paddyfoot lawn for reservations through the foundation site, and we let people reserve those spaces for free. And I've gotten nothing but positive feedback from the people who were well, except for one person on the tailgate experience. And then that one person wasn't even there. But most people say that they but most people say that they enjoy it, which is actually interesting because when I first got to campus in January, I said, well, what do we do with this lawn during game days? And they said nothing. And I said that I wanted to tailgate there. But the decision was made to not do that at the time. But since we ran into the kind of disruption of tailgate expectations, for lack of a better description, and so much feedback from the first one, they decided to make that available for free. So I'm actually, I think it's a great idea. And from the people who've been there, they seem to have been enjoying it. So the plan is to announce prices for homecoming in our last home game to reserve those spaces by October 7th. All right, I'm going to work my way around. You go ahead.
And you have that reserved up there where you can put a big screen TV up there so people can watch the game also.
So I'll tell you. So yeah. So I think it's a great, yes. As I mentioned, we will be charging for tailgating. I actually had a student assistant in my office collect what the prices are for all of the schools in the SWAC and a few other Florida institutions to make sure that we're kind of aligned with what, I don't want to charge you too much. I don't want to charge you too little, right? I want to offer a fair market value for the experience that you will receive. But also remember, I have to pay for it to get cleaned up. We have to pay for the maintenance of the grass to be restored at the end of the season. I had to pay for the paint for the spaces to be marked. I had to pay for the signs to be printed. I mean, it was an expense for me to allow a free experience. Right. So no plans to tailgate there because the idea is that you tailgate and then you come into the stadium and cheer on the Rattlers as they finish off their win streak. However, I got a text message from Josh today because the other thing, I was looking at is, hey, homecoming is going to be sold out. Like we know it's going to be sold out. Is there an opportunity to stream the game at Will Packer Amphitheater and charge for tickets? But we are not allowed to charge for the streaming. But I think we want as many people who are on campus to enjoy the game. So we are looking at different opportunities to show the game, but not at the Paddyfoot lawn. You need to come into the stadium and watch the game. Yes, sir. I don't know. Markel, do you know anything about that? Have you heard anything about it? The track has been closed at 5 o'clock. Mm-hmm. No, I'm happy to look into it. My best guess, I hate to guess, especially since I'm on YouTube, or Facebook. So for example, right now we're leading this campaign on resurfacing the tennis courts, right? It's going to cost me a minimum of $150,000 to resurface tennis courts, which is only going to last me about 3 years, right? But we allow community access. We allow people to come and offer free clinics. We allow people to make money. They charge for clinics. We have classes that are taught on that thing on tennis courts. So there's a lot of wear and tear on our facilities, and we have to be the ones to repair it. Now, I do think we should, be actively involved and make as much as we can available to people in the community. So I don't have the right answer for you. As I'm going through kind of my line of thinking as why we've shut them down at other places, that's been why. But that has not been brought to my attention, but I'll get an answer for you. Yep. I will get an answer for you. Yep. Okay. Yep. I wasn't aware, but I'll find out.
This has been a recurring problem for years. At most of the executive FSU, you can run on the track all time of day and night if they don't have an event. It's considered kind of a community track if the university isn't have something scheduled. To lock it up at 5 though does cause disservice to the community. Oh,
Okay.
and it's usually open. I don't know why it's locked now.
Yep. I'll look into it. And I'm not guaranteeing that I can get to a yes, but I can guarantee that I can get to an answer for you for sure. Yep. Yes, sir.
Making statements that you're not over this, you're not over that. When it comes to athletics, we know one individual, that's the athletic
Mhm.
and it impacts whether you make the decision or not. It impacts your athletic facility. It's just like the problem you have the first game and then closing the gate at Paris Street. This little thing like that that makes fans upset and talk negative about the university or the administration or whatever. Do you have anybody on your committee that, just local citizens or community actors that you can get input before you do anything? You use the term feedback. When you get feedback, it's already happened.
Right.
Because if you actually say, if we don't gonna have one line at the stadium on each side, how you think that's gonna happen? I tell you, you'll have a big problem. So we
Right.
prevented that. But I think you can prevent a lot of these problems if you just get somebody in the community or in the campus that's not part of administration can give you positive feedback on some of the things you do before you do it.
So I'll tell you, I pay a company Rhino to provide security who scans the tickets and wand people in and check bags. I pay them well over 6 figures to do it. Our contract, which ran from August of 2021 through August of 24, the expectation is they provide 110 to 120 people. I was not notified that they would not have enough people. Well, I'm trying to explain to you. Right. So I'm trying to explain to you that I found out in the first quarter that they were short, and then I found out that following Monday that only 55 of the 120 people that I have paid for showed up. So on top, what I did then is enlist the ROTC. So now I'm paying Rhino $100,000+, and I'm paying the ROTC almost $10,000 a week to make sure that we have a contingency plan. There was really no way for me to anticipate that a company I'm paying for 120 people to show up would only show up 55. And as soon as it was brought to my attention, we deployed every single intern and every single employee we had. And also, not only did we open every single gate, I noticed that the signage that has been at the stadium for years, when don't have 30 days to rectify, which is why I'm paying the ROTC in addition to paying them to make sure that we don't have the same thing, and why I paid for wands to be overnighted and paid for barricades. Well, I didn't pay for the barricades. We rented the barricades through the university. But so I have a meeting with them on Thursday, and so the conversation is, I mean, my budget is my budget. So in order for me to pay the ROTC, I use the funds that I've already allocated to pay for security. So the conversation on Thursday is, this is what we paid you for, this is what you provided. How do we move forward financially? And we've had general counsel even engaged on the contract. Yep. Right. But I mean, it puts you in a tough situation in the middle of the season because it's hard to really do anything in the middle of a football season when it comes to a security company. Yes, sir.
I'm usually one of the first ones to set up my kids for tailgating, and one of the last ones to leave. This past Saturday night, I had something that I never had happened before. Policemen going around saying it's time to shut down. Is there a time limit now on how long we can be out there?
Where are you tailgating? In the stadium or?
In the parking lot, in front of the school.
Is it, Markel, do you know what the time is to shut down for tailgate?
They were saying, you know, I mean, I got out there at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
But I haven't been told.
I know there's been discussion on a time because we had that discussion even about when we open and close just for setup because the police have to be able to provide people to be in the area. And I don't know what the time is off the top of my head. So I'd have to come back to you on that. Yes, ma'am. hmm Okay. And I hate to do this because he pointed out that people that, I'm saying I don't do this and, I'm the face of athletics. I was under so you purchase tickets and parking through the ticket office, which is managed by the woman who sits to my right, Miss Rebecca Brown, the VP of Business and Finance. So when they identified spaces, I was under the impression that you all received the space number, but are you saying you all didn't receive a map so you don't know where the space is located? Well, I know it's a numerical order, but I know some people's spaces have shifted. So maybe people showed up because they normally parked in at a corner and now their space is down 4 or 5 spots. Yep. Yep. And so I do know Regina Battle, who works in the ticket office. She has 2 big maps on her wall of the parking lot, kind of before and after. And she was really intentional about trying to get people as close to the same location, not the same number. Because she wanted, hey, if you normally park at this corner of the stadium, people are used to parking at this corner of the stadium versus space number 1, and now space number 1 is 10 spaces down. So I can work with the ticket office moving forward. I mean, there are a number of things I can work with them on. And even with our team, for example, I think our parking placards, I think we need to do something different. It's too hard to see what the lot is. I think we need to do a color, a large letter. We need to assign it. We need to send out maps. So that's a correction we'll make next year. Our credentials, they kind of look the same week to week. It's hard for security to manage who's on and off the sideline. We need to make a correction to the color, put a big game number on it. So that, I mean, I've learned a lot in the last couple of weeks that we can improve upon for sure. Has there been any thought to mailing? It was my understanding that the ticket office mailed out all Investing in Champions packages to people who do not live locally. So if there's someone that's there that can shoot you a name who's saying they don't live locally and they did not receive a package, I would need to know that. I was not aware that even the local people didn't receive theirs in the mail. I thought everyone's packages got mailed. You have a choice? Okay. Got it. Okay. Yep. Okay. So the people locally have a choice. It was just one more hand, Vaughn, so I'm going to take it. All right, go ahead. Say that one more time. No, I think the question is the Marching 100 going to Southern? I think they're going to Texas Southern. I don't think they're going to Southern. But I can't confirm or deny. You'd have to have someone check with Dr. Chipman. So no to Southern, but I think they're going to Texas Southern. I'm not sure. All right, President Jackson, you gonna wrap this thing up?
Yes, we're ready. Thank you. Thank you, Madam AD. People, same times. Yes, Wilma.